So let's go straight into the mix. The first real sort of link that we saw was actually Edwin van der Sar, and that was on the 8th of May. Ajax CEO, after the Champions League semi-final defeat against Spurs, he says, I think this will be de Ligt's final game for Ajax, but I hope he goes out on a high. He's been here since he was a child and he will end up at a big club. Now, prior to this, there was a lot of talk about him going to Barcelona, but it was this line which made everyone go, hang about? What's he on about there? I think he'll go to England or Spain. The fact England was the first out of his mouth, I think, is really telling. And the fact that England was actually in his mouth at all is actually telling. He has just recently been linked to Manchester City, but I think that started the big rumours. Now, I actually think that United have been genuinely negotiating for trying to bring him here. And I actually think Manchester United believe they have at least a shot. Now, whether they think they're favourites or they think he can make it happen, who knows? I don't have Ed Woodward's phone number. And I don't even know if he would admit that to anybody privately or publicly anyway. But I think that with what transpires a few weeks later, which we'll get into in a sec, I think United genuinely believe they are in the fight, at least in the hunt. The next big thing that made any sort of impact was on the 20th of the 5th. So this has happened within the last week, really. Catalonia radio station says Manchester United remain more financially committed, was the quote, to de Ligt at the moment. And everyone goes, hang about, what do you mean? That kind of came from nowhere. That was the first major link that United could be in the mix. That was the 20th of the 5th, week today. 21st of the 5th. Rumoured to leave Ajax for Barcelona despite the link from English clubs after impressing in the Champions League this season. 24th of the 5th. United looked to hijack the Barcelona deal by offering him €236,000 per week, about £210,000 per week, but it was rejected. And that's what made me think it was real. The fact that there'd been an offer and the offer was being rejected, that was the news. It wasn't like, you can usually tell United are considering their options. Yeah, are we? United are scouting a player. Yeah, we're building databases. The fact that there's been an offer, and the detail of that is someone's dividing that up by week. They said €14 million a year. That's generally how these deals are done. They're done on a yearly salary thing rather than the per week, which everyone likes to report them on. That, to me, is very, very real. Now, that's when the Barcelona talk started going, like Barcelona have blown us out the water a little bit here, and you've also got to remember that there's talk that he might not even be a guaranteed starter at Barcelona. More on that in a second. 25th of the 5th. Gerard Romero, Tier 1 on Reddit, RAC1 journalist. De Ligt very close to United, not definitive, but a very good proposal for the player. Now, he could be also referring to the one that's already rejected. He might be talking about a renewed deal we're not quite aware of. Maybe Barcelona are aware of one. Maybe he's actually aware of what Barcelona's upper limit was. Maybe he knows that United have absolutely blown them out of the water with the first offer that was already rejected. Maybe United can't go like for like with Barcelona because we can't offer the chance of success Barcelona could offer. We can't offer Champions League football like Barcelona could offer. But maybe we'll pay agents' fees such as Raiola that they might not. Ollie has apparently identified de Ligt as his number one target. That's a very easy line for a newspaper to write. This came apparently after discussions between Barcelona and de Ligt hit a roadblock after the youngster wanted improved terms. And I see a lot of people shouting, he's using us for a contract. Maybe. Can't sit here and say he's not, to be honest. Go back to what I said at the top of the show. I think United generally think that they can get him. Genuinely think that they can get him. Whether or not that's misfounded, I don't know. We will find out in the grand scheme of things. 26th of the 5th, 25th, 26th, United withdraw their interest as the hierarchy expects him to join Barcelona. That sort of came out through Guillem Balaguer, which almost means start setting the parade up, we're signing the guy. That could have come from a number of different places, but the Sky sources on that was Guillem Balaguer. I don't understand why people would take anything that he said way more seriously than what people who are considered Tier 1 on Spanish football are saying. Either of those, even if they're completely polar opposite, can both be true at the time of negotiations. No one has the full picture, arguably not even the player, as we've seen in previous years with the likes of Fucking hell, I've completely forgot the guy's name. Who's the Chelsea signed striker that you guys binned off?
Costa.
No.
Higuain?
No. Morata. Totally. I was going Moreno. It's not called Moreno. Morata. As we saw with Morata, Morata was telling people he was coming to United. Obviously, I got caught up in that one myself because he was telling United players he was coming to United by weekend. And he didn't come because he didn't have the full picture. He wasn't aware he was the second choice to Lukaku in that negotiation. So it's very hard. Even the club could potentially not know. Now, we might be sitting there with Ligt and Raiola, and he's giving us the eyes and giving us the nods and giving us the right word. Woodward can go home going, I think I've got that one in the bag, you know. But they can also be doing the same to Barcelona. Only, it's very difficult for anyone to have a full picture of what's going on with a transfer, is what I'm trying to say to you. Anyway, there's some quotes that have come out from the player which should actually start putting something definitive on this. Ligt came out and said, where do I see myself? Well, obviously the Premier League is a big competition. First out of his mouth again. I think there's something in that. Spain also. But you have other competitions. It's not just about those two. I still don't know anything about where my future is, so I'll see how it goes. First we have to play 2 games in the Nations League, and after that we'll see what's next. Today, what sort of come out is, I look at what I think is best for my career, where I can best develop, and where I can get the most playing minutes. On that I base my choice. I think that is massive, absolutely massive, when he says playing minutes, because I don't think he walks into United's changing rooms, looks at Phil Jones eating a box of crayons and goes, he's going to be a nightmare for me to get ahead of. I don't think he looks at Chris Smalling eating quinoa and rice and goes, he's going to be a nightmare for me to get hold of. I think he walks in there, he whips his nuts out and he goes, you two, beneath me, easy. And I'd honestly consider giving this 19-year-old knobhead the captain's armband as well. I really would. He's a genuine leader. I do like what he said about Ajax. Like, I'm playing at my dream club. There is no dream club. I think there's a big Raiola part to play in this. It seems like United will dance to the tune that Raiola likes people to dance to. I think when there's huge agent fees involved and when there's huge money on the table, when you need to get a deal done, I think Raiola knows that he can come to United and absolutely rinse us. And that might be the case at some degree. The transfer fee seems very low, the agent's fee seems very high, but that's Raiola's modus operandi, isn't it? For me, if you're able to get, say, Ligt and Alderweireld for under 100 million, you've absolutely levelled up the defence. Absolutely. Beyond any sort of question whatsoever. I would love to see United go and do that. City have entered the race last minute. Again, that can be United throwing it out there, so when he chooses Manchester United over Manchester City, if he chooses Manchester United over Manchester City, we look better for doing it. I would expect a Liverpool link to come pretty soon if it's not out there already, because it's a very easy one to make. Oh, he plays with Van Dijk at international level? Yeah, let's throw this one in the mixer too. I don't think we've done seeing any of this. I think for the next 2 weeks you're going to see a hell of a lot more speculation until the Nations League is concluded, and then I wouldn't expect it to happen within a few days of that either. I think it's probably going to take even longer than that to get done. Big deals are complicated. Complicated deals are what Raiola deals in, so we'll see on that one. Righty, on to the next one then. Let's talk about young Pedro. So Pedro was close to joining Real Madrid last season. United have contacted Fluminense over the young Brazilian. He's got 17 goals in 50 appearances for the Brazilian club. Missed out on his first Brazil cap due to injury. 3 goals in 5 games since returning. Apparently we're looking at him for 21.7 million. Similar to what Real Madrid was offering last season. They reckon he's going to be a star in the Toulon tournament with Brazil in the summer. I guess we'll see. I haven't watched anything like near enough football of the guy to know what sort of style he is, who he's going to be better than, or anything along those lines. Just giving you the info, as it states there, about what he's done and who's in the mixer for him. The next one's a bit more interesting. Moussa Dembele. United are reportedly looking at 35 million, 40 million euro bid for Dembele. 23 goals in all competitions in his first season with Lyon. He definitely fits into that young, potentially hungry sort of mould that we're looking at for other targets, which from the face of it at least, seems to be what Solskjaer is going for. So Dembele had a word on his transfer as well. He says, I signed for 5 years with Lyon and I'm happy with that, but we'll see what happens. And I'm happy to stay with Lyon next season, but we'll see. I do like the idea of bringing Dembele in, I've got to be honest with you. I think he'd be a player that would fit that mould. If we're going for a fast counter-attacking side, I think he's slightly different to what both Rashford and Martial offer, and I am assuming that Lukaku is going to be moved on, but I do like the idea of him very much. Next one then, Longstaff. I've got to be honest with you, I'm not all that excited about this one in the slightest. 25 million, they're saying, should be enough. Really? 25 million? Is he any better than Jimmy Garner? Is he just Jimmy Garner with half a dozen appearances? I know he was very highly rated. He actually started off as a striker coming through the academy, scored a lot of goals, very highly rated. I've seen him compared to Carrick. Not sure about that one, to be honest. 25 million could buy you Alderweireld, or essentially an academy kid with half a dozen caps. Well, not even caps, appearances. Apparently he's been heavily scouted and also personally recommended by Michael Carrick. I think this is where we potentially overrate someone because he's played a few games in the Premier League and underrate what some of our academy players could do if they was given some opportunities in the Premier League. Now, Longstaff might go on and be quality, but I haven't seen enough from him in the few games I have seen of him that make me suggest that this is worth doing. That's it in terms of the ins. If I'm going to say any one of those that's likely to start really motoring this week, I would think it'd be the Dembele one. I think Dembele is pretty much likely to be the one that we see start getting picked up everywhere in terms of news, because I actually think there's something in it. And on these, I haven't heard anything on any of these transfers, but I would say if any of those are going to start coming off, I would think that just looking at what's going on, the Dembele one's likely to be one that maybe does something. In terms of the outs, there's two outs worth talking about. We'll talk about Dean Henderson first. So after a chat with Ollie, Henderson is coming out and saying that he believes that he's going to be going back to Sheffield United on loan next season. I guess there's not much more to say about that. United either think that they're going to get De Gea to sign up to a new contract, or they're not asked and they're going to use what we've got as first choice, second choice, third choice. The other one we're going to talk about very, 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 very briefly is Marcus Rashford with a link to City. Now, how do I phrase this correctly? He's not fucking going to Manchester City. He's not fucking asking for 300 grand a week. He's not using Manchester City to try and get more money. He's not demanding United sign fucking him, his brother and his auntie and the dog to stay at Manchester United. It's lies. I will stand in front of anyone and call him a fucking liar that has wrote that, because I think my sources on this one are better than yours. Thank you guys for watching me. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button. I'll see you in a few days. Laters.